Welcome back again with us on Lutherans Alive. Our guest today again is Pastor Tony Schneck, Associate Pastor at Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Glenshaw. Tony, it's great to have you with us today and to be talking about faith in the home and particularly in our young family members. And when we came to the break, we were talking a little bit about things that make it easy for our children to absorb the stories, the songs, the lessons, those kinds of things. And one of the thoughts that crossed my mind was that wonderful Old Testament tradition, the oral tradition, that was so much a part of the storytelling of the Old Testament. One example would be the creation story, which of course goes day by day through the different segments of creation. And of course at the end of each of those days was, and the evening and the morning was the first day or the second day. Kind of an easy compartmentalized way to remember different parts of the story.
Almost like a refrain.
Right.
And again, children relate so well to those stories. If you read from the same Bible storybook enough times, that the children will almost know the story word for word, almost like reading a Dr. Seuss book that's rhyming and repetitive. That the children can relate to those stories or be able to repeat those refrains or even details of the story.
That's always been an interesting dynamic for me to see is a lot of times when you finish a story with a child, instead of them saying, let's get another book, they just turn back to the beginning and say, read it again.
Read it again, exactly.
They never tire of that repetition and
right.
continue to soak up and absorb the content.
Like little sponges. They see everything you do, they hear everything you say, and they're taking it all in. So, yes, indeed.
I guess that's one of the important messages for our parents who may be listening or grandparents today to hear is that the children do continue to absorb and watch and learn from our actions and our rituals in life. Some of the rituals we don't even realize we have or that we exercise, but they are there.
Or even symbols, like the cross, of course, the most important symbol of our faith, or the sign of our faith. And it reminds me of a story one time when Connor, my son, actually had a conversation with our former bishop, Bishop McCoy. One day we were with Bishop McCoy, and Bishop McCoy was wearing his large pectoral cross. And Connor took notice of it and was paying attention to it, and he said, "It's a cross." And Bishop McCoy said, "Yes, Connor." I think he was maybe 3 years old at the time. And he said, "Cross. Jesus died on the cross." And then he rose again on Easter. And Bishop McCoy looked at Connor and said, "That's very good, Connor." So here's my young son actually sort of witnessing, sharing his faith with our bishop. That was a proud moment as a parent.
And one of those wonderful examples of when we are witnessing to our faith from the depths of our hearts, it's so unpresumptuous. It just is a kind of a natural response to the situation. An opportunity was there. That cross was obviously the physical reminder right there, and he picked up on it naturally.
Sure did. Sure did. Well, as children grow, of course, into preteens and teens, they begin to understand differently. We're able to, of course, share the Christian faith with our children in a way that's appropriate to their age. And as they grow, of course, they come to confirmation age, and we certainly, in our confirmation classes, we use Luther's Small Catechism, and which we were talking a little during the break about how that was a very useful tool that Martin Luther himself, almost 500 years ago, came up with because he saw that there was a need for Christian parents. They needed a resource. They needed some way to share the faith, for them, they themselves to learn the Christian faith and to pass it on. So Luther wrote this Small Catechism as a way of helping parents to share the faith, sort of a nice little summary of the Christian faith that parents could use in the home.
And the genius of Luther's catechism that with the simple statements of faith to, again, have the ability to put it in common everyday words. What does this mean? And then to have a brief explanation that people could, using their own vernacular, their own common English, to say, this is how we would translate that into today's understanding. I think a lot of times parents, when they're approached with the idea of teaching their children, are a little bit taken aback with, well, what would I say? Maybe I don't feel as comfortable in my faith as I should be. And I guess the best thing we could point to in that case is, if you involve yourself in the catechism with your children, you'll learn as much as they will, or maybe be refreshed at least in what you learned at a previous time.
Sometimes the best way to learn something is to have to teach it.
Right.
And so that's a word of encouragement for parents to go to an adult Sunday school class or an adult Bible study to try to learn, and to know also that it's okay to say, well, I don't know what the answer to your question is. Maybe we can ask the pastor about that, or maybe, and then hopefully your pastor will know the answer to the question. But the parents can say, I don't know, but maybe we'll try to find that out together.
And just to tie that one thought back in again about going to perhaps an adult class, again, if children learn by example or by our modeling the right kind of behavior, that says a word to parents who might be tempted just to drop their children off for Sunday school and not actually continue to grow in their own faith as well. We've actually filled up our time quite nicely today, and I think hope we've given our viewers some inspiration and some ideas about the importance of faith in the home and how they can be an active part in it. Tony, thanks so much for being here with us today. We appreciate the time. Thank you for being with us today on Lutherans Alive. We hope you've enjoyed this opportunity to be reminded about the importance of our faith in everyday living, at home, in worship, and in all that we do. Until next time, this is Lutherans Alive. Good day, and God bless you.